responsible, right? But, like, it's a big difference whenever you're... Apparently, yesterday, Israel... This might come as a surprise, but Israel has managed to kill more civilians.
Be wary.
I know.
No timeline.
I know, you thought it couldn't happen. They were not civilians? Well, they were journalists, and journalists are civilians. So anyway, Israel has killed multiple journalists in Gaza, including prominent Al Jazeera reporters. Here we go. Let's watch it.
Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is defending his country's planned military takeover of Gaza City, even as that plan faces growing international condemnation. Netanyahu spoke by phone with Donald Trump about his intention to expand the war. And according to the Prime Minister's office, he thanked the U.S. president for his, quote, steadfast support of Israel. But the U.S. stands increasingly apart from allies, with more countries voicing their opposition to Israel's new war plan. Australia is the latest country to say it will recognize a Palestinian state at the UN General Assembly in September. Still, Netanyahu shows no signs of backing down.
I don't want to prolong the war, I want to end the war. Given Hamas's refusal to lay down its arms, Israel has no choice but to finish the job and complete the defeat of Hamas.
The staff of the network Al Jazeera is mourning the loss of colleagues killed in an Israeli airstrike.
The Israeli crazy is that they actually killed journalists this time. That doesn't happen very often, but it's happening now.
I'll patch you up.
No, buddy. No, the thing is that, like, I think everybody agrees that Hamas is bad, and it's good if Israel or anybody gets rid of them. I mean, even Saudi Arabia hates Hamas. So it's not like Hamas are the good guys, according to anyone other than Hamas and a few, like, weird white girls on Twitter. Other than that, though, you know, it's like there's a level of, like, collateral damage that things like this are happening.
Military said it deliberately targeted journalist Anas al-Sharif, accusing him of leading a Hamas cell. The director of the Al-Shifa hospital says al-Sharif was in a tent marked with a press sign at the time of the attack. In all, 7 people were killed, including at least 3 other Al Jazeera journalists. Before his death, al-Sharif responded to Israel's accusation, saying he was a, quote, journalist with no political affiliation. Al Jazeera is calling the kill.
No, Al Jazeera is obviously a political leaning, like they definitely have more of, I would say, an anti-Israel like stance on things. Same as like Fox News is more pro-Republican, CNN is closer to the middle, but you know, MSNBC is like more Democrat. Like, I mean, yeah, they're still press. Now, I'm not justifying this, but to say that you don't have a political leaning is not true. The entire idea that the press isn't, oh, you're just reporting the facts? No, you're not. No, you're not.
A desperate attempt to silence voices.
It's in the middle, in between Fox and MSNBC. It doesn't mean that it's in the middle politically, but Fox is more right-wing and MSNBC is more left.
Head of the occupation of Gaza. The Committee to Protect Journalists released a statement reading, quote, Israel's pattern of labeling journalists as militants without providing credible evidence raises serious questions about its intent and respect for press freedom. Journalists are civilians and must never be targeted. Those responsible for these killings must be held accountable. The CPJ says 186 journalists have been killed in Gaza in the last 22 months. CNN's Nada Bashir is following all of these developments and joins us live now from London. Good to see you, Nada. Can you tell me a little bit more about Anas al-Sharif? From what I understand, he anticipated the possibility that he could be targeted and killed by Israel, right?
Absolutely, he has indeed.
Like, if 180 people have been killed that are doing your job, you have to be like, yeah, this might happen to me. I mean, duh.
Raised concerns over the threats and allegations that he had seen mounting by members of the Israeli military and other Israeli government officials who had highlighted and pinpointed Anas al-Sharif as a potential target. And as you mentioned, Ivan, we've been hearing those warnings around his safety and calls for his protection from others as well, including the UN Special Rapporteur for Freedom of Expression, as well as the Committee to Protect Journalism. In fact, Al Jazeera International Media Network had also raised concern around the safety and protection of Anas al-Sharif, as well as his other Al Jazeera colleagues and other journalists on the ground in the Gaza Strip. And we have been hearing those mounting allegations from members of the Israeli military, including the IDF. Arabic spokespersons have been described by many as a smear campaign against the Al Jazeera journalist.
You've got to have like a
accused him
reason,
of being
right? Just show
linked
the
to
reason.
Hamas, in their words, quote, a terrorist. But of course, Anas al-Sharif has become a household name for many in the Arabic-speaking world, for many closely following updates on the ground on the situation in Gaza on social media. Anas al-Sharif, over the last 22 months, has been a constant source of information on the ground across the Gaza Strip. At the time of his death, he was, of course, in
Like
Gaza.
the thing is that you remember, like after they did the pager thing, and like they were all too happy to discuss exactly and how they did every step of the pager. Like, and it was really smart the way that they did that. Like, it was a very well executed operation. I don't think Israel is evil, but there are evil things that are executed very, very cleanly. I think this absolutely was one of them. But like, so where's the methodology for this? Because it's very clear. Like, yeah, if you think Israel makes mistakes, you're crazy. I mean, I think that those are some mistakes right there. I mean, these look like a lot of mistakes. So I'm looking at mistakes all around me.
City, he was outside of the previously destroyed Al-Shifa hospital with other journalists, according to the hospital's director, Dr. Mohammed Abu Salmiya, in a tent clearly marked as a press tent. Now, this isn't the first time that we have seen these press tents.
My opinion on this entire topic is that I just want America to get the fuck out of this problem. I think this problem is it's so complex. It's been ongoing forever. I think that there's like definitely like different like good and bad things with each thing. I just want us to get the fuck out of it. Like it's such a it's there's no like winners in this. There's not going to be any winners. There's not going to be like a good. I don't see there being a good ending coming out of this. I don't even see there being an ending. This is just this ongoing conflict that's going on entirely, and American taxpayer dollars are going to fund it. At the end of the day, I don't want my money going towards bombing Palestinians.
I am ready to put on a show.
I don't want my money invested in this. There are 50 other problems that are more immediate and more important that I would rather do. And it's not like I don't think Hamas is bad. Hamas is bad. But at the same time, so is homelessness. So is, a food shortage. So is crime. Like, there are a million... So it's like 50 other things that are going on. Trump wants a hotel there? That's stupid. Like, it's stupid. Like, yeah, America first. That's my viewpoint, right? That's how you get more 9/11s, sir? So wait a minute, you get more... So the solution to 9/11 is to continue military intervention, just like we've had for the last 30 years in the Middle East. Oh my God. Maybe if we just spend 5 more years arming different versions of Islamic radical groups, maybe this problem that's been going on for 1,000 years will go away. Oh, wow. Why didn't I think of this? Holy shit. That's what we have to do. We have to replace the Taliban with the Taliban again. Yes, and then everything's gonna go away. Holy shit. No, this is exhausting. We have no idea what's going on with Gaza and Hamas and Israel. Why are our taxes getting used to kill without certainty? That it's done out of necessity. Israel's rich enough to do this without all of our money. Exactly, yeah. That's the way I think about this too, is that, like, I'm so fatigued from this conflict, and I think that there's a lot of Americans that feel the way that I do. Tell me if you agree with me on this. Is that I'm so tired of trying to figure out who's right and who's wrong and who's doing the right thing and who's doing the wrong thing. There's so many different shades of the fog of war that's happening with this that I just want to get the fuck away from it.
Get to the fork and trio.
I want to get out of it. I don't want to have anything to do with it.
I feel like
I don't want to be involved in this. I don't want to have to fucking think about this.
you are
Like,
under my
it's insane. We got our own problems? Yeah.
And in Gaza, forces between targeted in Israeli airstrikes. The Israeli military itself has indicated that this was a targeted strike against the Al Jazeera journalist as well as his colleagues. When we previously heard, as I mentioned, from the UN for freedom of expression, denouncing those allegations by the Israeli military as unfounded accusations. We've heard from the Committee to Protect Journalists. We also
Can't
heard
they just say how they got this? I mean, like, they'd have to have some kind of a reason for it. I mean, again, like, they had a million fucking, points. Like, as soon as that Patriot thing happened, they explained everything.
Anas Al-Sharif speaking to the Committee to Protect Journalists, saying, I live with the feeling that I could be bombed and martyred at any moment. This feeling is difficult and painful, but it does not push me back. Rather, it motivates me to continue fulfilling my duty.
Yeah.
Of course, as I mentioned, Anas Al-Sharif was a crucial source of information in the Gaza Strip. As we know, international journalists have thus far not been permitted to access Gaza independently. And of course, Palestinian journalists on the ground have been a huge source of information and updates on the ground situation.
People in Israel are not humans when they keep supporting them. The problem is that every country is a victim of its own propaganda. And in the same way that a lot of people wanted to blast the Middle East after 9/11, which really shouldn't have happened. And it didn't happen as much as it could have, honestly. Many people are victims of propaganda. And I'm not saying that justifies it, but you have to keep in mind that, from their perspective, their home is being attacked. Like, I understand why Israelis feel animosity towards, Hamas or Palestine in general. Like, and that's the thing, is that was my whole point of, like, this whole thing is just so fatiguing and tiresome. I, as an American, I don't want to be writing checks to either side. I don't want to be getting involved with this, period. Does that make sense?
Ivan.
And they appear to have been systematically targeted. If you can cite the numbers from the Committee to Protect Journalists, at least 186 Palestinian journalists killed in 22 months of conflict in Gaza, some 90 others imprisoned.
Holy
Nada Bashir,
shit.
live from London. Thank you very much for that update. Alon Pinkas is a former Israeli consul general in New York, and he joins us live from Tel Aviv. Good to see you. It's been months since we last spoke. I wanted to get your sense. We're hearing about families of Israeli hostages and the Israeli political opposition calling for a general strike this coming weekend over the Israeli government's expanded war plans in Gaza. Will that make any difference?
Well, that depends on the size, the scale, and the sustainability of such an effort, Ivan. I mean, if it's a strike that's 1 day or 2 days, that's not going to have a big impact. If the strike is accompanied by demonstrations growing in size, from 10,000 to 30,000 to 100,000 and even more, and we've seen those in the past, so it's doable. If we see that on an ongoing basis, then it could change. Now, on top of that, these protests...
I don't think they're getting any of these hostages back. I mean, again, it's just probably not going to happen. It's a psycho-terrorist group. What do you expect?
And this opposition is backed by or emboldened, is a better word here, by the military opposition, resistance, and reservations about the plan.
The crazy part is Israel immediately released documents and photos with Sinwar and the journalist, but CNN didn't even mention or show it, even if you think it's fake. It's really bad journalism. I think that, yeah, you're right about that. I mean, there's definitely always going to be some of that stuff that happens. Sure.
And if you notice, or if our viewers have noticed, Mr. Netanyahu is trying to sell a non-existent plan by changing the terminology constantly in the last 48 hours. from occupation. It's not. It became takeover. Takeover became a temporary military presence. Evacuation became partial evacuation. Occupation of Gaza became military control. Central Gaza, etc.
Redefine it.
So there's no real plans, yet the war is going.
Israel has free college and free healthcare. We shouldn't be giving them billions of dollars to keep them bombing women and kids.
Here they are now.
I completely agree with you. And even if they didn't have free college and free healthcare, I would still agree with you.
Here's enough.
Yeah. I totally agree.
Going to continue. That's a given. That's almost an inevitability. And against that background,
like, I'm not mad at you. Like, you didn't do anything. This is just your government, right? I said the same thing about Russia. Like, Russian citizens don't have any fucking... Like, they can't make Putin stop the Ukraine. The same as, like, Palestinians can't stop Hamas, really, individually at least. And fucking Israelis can't stop the Israeli government. Not individually. Then who can? Well, they can collectively, but not individually. What I'm saying is that, like, you shouldn't assign collective guilt to any group of people, even if the majority of that group of people are bad, because each individual is different. That's all I'm saying.
that strike and those demonstrations are going to be held.
You know, as Prime Minister Netanyahu was kind of defending his, as you've argued, evolving plan, I also heard that he was denying reports of starvation and malnutrition in Gaza. And I wanted to ask you, Mr. Pincus, is that a widespread belief in Israel that these images and firsthand accounts and then the reports that have come from the health ministry in Gaza of at least 217 Palestinians, 100 of which are children, dying of malnutrition, people in Israel believe that this is happening? Or, as Prime Minister Netanyahu has said, do they...
People believe Israel's choosing to kill women and children. I don't want to pay for it whether it's intentional or not. I don't care whether they're right or wrong. I don't want my fucking money going towards it, period. I don't understand how that's hard to understand.
not think that this is actually taking place in Gaza?
That's a good question, and it's going to take a trained social psychologist, which I am not, to figure out whether or not people actually believe that there's no humanitarian crisis, no humanitarian necessity, or they're living in denial, meaning that they sort of know that it's happening, but they choose to look the other way, denying that we can ever be, that Israel can ever be a part of that. But I'm seeing rather a dramatic change in the last 2, 3, 4 weeks. From complete denial and you know, being indifferent and oblivious and ignorant about what's going on in Gaza, there's much more reporting on what is going on in Gaza. Now the question is this a deliberate policy? Is this done with an intention to starve? Or is this just incompetence, ineptitude, and a bad prosecution of war? And of course that depends on how you analyze it. But the public understands now what it chose to ignore for the better part of the last 6 months, that there is a humanitarian crisis, there is starvation, and that the Prime Minister is denying it. You know, that's what he's done.
He's not even denying it. He's saying Hamas does contribute, which I think is true. I think that Hamas does contribute to the starvation problem, because contributing to the starvation problem creates a need for Hamas. So if Hamas is seen as the ones that are controlling the flow of food, that gives them a power apparatus that they can operate out of. So I think that, yeah, of course they're doing that, because it's just logical.
I mean,
it helps
usually tells you, believe me, not what your eyes are seeing. So
right, yeah, of course.
What can I say? I cannot, even if I really try, defend what he's saying here.
And so anyway, according to him, though, the real reason why this is happening is because of social media algorithms. That's right. Benjamin Netanyahu claims social media algorithms are turning the public opinion against Israel. He says they're losing the propaganda war, insisting most of those that hate him are actually bots.
No, I think that we've not been winning it, to put it mildly. I think there are vast forces that are arrayed against us. Among other things, the algorithms of the social network that are driving a lot of everything else, you know, and people who really know, and they're the foremost people in this field in the world. They're telling me that about 60% of the responses on the social media are bots. They can categorically say they're bots.
That's true. That's true with everything. It's true with everything. That doesn't mean that you're right. It doesn't mean that all the responses that are against you are bots and all of the people that are for you are real people. What a bunch of bullshit. He's saying this for a reason, probably for censorship. Yeah, I think so. Anyway, let's go back. I'll look at this.
Jews and Israelis across the world are now speaking out. What I was trying to say before the baboon interrupted me was that the top Holocaust historian in the country.
Calling Jews monkeys and apes disgusting. How vile are you?
You murder Muslims for fun. You don't get to talk about racism. You murder Palestinian children for land. You're a disgusting genocidal pig. So you don't get to talk about racism and anti-Semitism. Oh, little victim. And by the way, I got what, 5 seconds in?
I love how we've taken Xbox Live lobbies and we've turned them into geopolitics.
For the baboon interrupted.
Rabbi, allow Jane to answer. Allow Jane to answer, please. Baboon, you're just, please go, Jane. Just an embarrassment.
Soon he'll be throwing feces onto the screen.
You're an embarrassment. This used to be in Halo 3. Now it's in the UN.
Okay. You're just in a... Please continue, Jane. Please, Rabbi. You'll get your time to respond. You'll get your time to respond, Rabbi. This is unacceptable. You will not call Jews monkeys and apes. You are a disgusting, vile Jew hater to your core. I've never met anyone
don't
like
care
you.
what you think. You're a genocidal freak. I
Jews are apes. Disgusting.
What does an...
You see how I just don't want America to be involved in this? Yeah, I don't, no, I don't want to hear, yeah, no, I'm out. Yeah,
Chance to stop them.
What does the Nazi think of my language? What does the murderer of children think of my language? Oh, the problem is my language. The problem isn't that you're murdering Palestinian children.
I got it. Go ahead. You said Jews are
No, they're not. I was just defending Jews. I was just defending Jews when you interrupted like a baboon. I'm not talking about Jews. I'm talking about you who can't shut up.
You are a
rancid diarrhea at us 24/7.
Rancid hater who is so...
Yeah. Everybody hates Jews. That's your excuse for murdering Muslims.
You don't know anything.
It's a sick genocidal
excuse. You don't know history. Yeah. Genocidal Jews. Named after people who killed 3 million.
There's no point to this conversation.
If he keeps going, he's going to just become more. His face is going to get redder.
Your show is
the idiot won't shut up.
This is
the only thing Israelis have.
Stop.
Just talking over people. Because they're such grotesque liars and murderers.
Okay, please, Rabbi, I'd like to ask you a question. Rabbi.
No, I didn't get to answer. Baboon won't let me
Okay. Rabbi Shmuley, please allow Jane to finish. What I'm listening to, I will never use an ad hominem attack against how he looks, ever. Because I have dignity. I'm a human being. This man... Please allow him to finish.
Yes, this is crazy.
Oh, hey, watch us start children to death.
Yeah.
You said I'm starting children.
Special debate. The future of Gaza.
I am ready to put on a show. Still a chance to stop them.
This right here is why I just want us to get out of it. I want out. I want off this wild ride.
Now might be a good time to stop them.
Figure it out. That's exactly how I feel right there.
Country sunlight. That's all this baboon has.
Now you know why he has no issue with Mengele experimenting on Jews, because for him Jews are apes.
I hate the
Experimented on in laboratory.
I would have fought like hell to save Jews from the Holocaust. If you were a German, you would have cheerleaded and said, no, you're lying about Hitler. That's what you would have said if you were a German, because that's what you're saying now in defending the genocide and murder of Palestinian children.
Credibility. I'm not going to take your insults, your ad hominem ignorance.
Get the hell out there. Then shut up and leave.
Allow Jing to finish, Rabbi. Allow Jing.
Yeah, that's about right, isn't it? Holy shit, man. Trust on red, yeah. Look at this, at the beginning, let me see, look, where's it at? Jesus. I guess it's not, he's not even that much more red. He started red. But like, god damn, man, this is nuts.
Joining us now is former
Maximum pulse!
Elizabeth Kitso. Elizabeth, thank you for joining us. Can I get your reaction to the spotlight that's being placed on Nancy Pelosi at the moment and the president continues to accuse her of insider trading?
I mean, it's comical because this has been going on for so long, right? If anyone's kind of in tune with that internet culture, you look at everything this, it's like following the story for some time, it's dodging so quite putting it comical, but also coming out comical. She hasn't found a way to respond to either.
Assemble!
She truly is, and how I think most of us realize when it's time to kind of bow out of whatever we're doing. She is the definition of violent extremism. I think even she might agree with that because she seems to not really belong anywhere.
Armed and dangerous!
Kind of wanted to step aside because it's not working for them.
Yeah, I enjoy watching her dodge those questions every time. She doesn't get any better at it. Now, over the weekend, US President Donald Trump brokered another historic peace deal. This time between Armenia and Azerbaijan after nearly 4 decades of conflict between the two countries. It was resolved with a peace declaration at the White House. Here's the president.
Don't give them another inch.
The moon haunts you.
More than 35 years, Armenia
I am ready to put on a show.
a bitter conflict that resulted in tremendous suffering for both nations. They suffered gravely for so many years. Many tried to find a resolution, including the European Union. The Russians worked very hard on it, never happened. Sleepy Joe Biden tried, but you know what happened there. He tried for probably 12 minutes and didn't work out. And many other countries tried and they were unsuccessful, but with this accord, we've finally succeeded in making peace.
I love how he notes that it didn't work out when sleepy Joe Biden tried. But Elizabeth, Trump has ended conflicts now between Thailand and Cambodia, Israel and Iran, India and Pakistan, and there are calls for him to win the Nobel Peace Prize.
Look, I think, again, it's a strange time that we're living in, right? And I think even a lot of people that didn't vote for President Trump would admit that they kind of root against him every single day. I think it's sad how politicized things have become, but it's true. And the fact of the matter is, if this was any other president, they would have been nominated for that prize a long time ago. By the way, probably in his first term for the Abraham Accords. But what struck me with this is my job, right? I have to follow politics for a living. And I even found out about this peace deal later than it actually happened. And the average person that I spoke to had no idea because the media didn't want to cover it because it looks like another win for President Trump and for the world. And it's sad that we've become so politicized we can't even share in these victories. And the fact that these two nations, like you said, it's been going on for so long. And now there's going to be peace. People are celebrating it. And we can't in America because that would be a win for President Trump.
Well said. Now, Donald Trump has announced a sweeping crime crackdown in DC, placing the city's police department under federal control and deploying the National Guard to patrol the streets. Now, Trump says he's going to clean it up real quick like we did on the southern border with illegal immigration. And the homicide rate in DC is among the highest in major US cities. But of course, the Democrats and the mainstream media are in meltdown over Trump's move today. Hillary Clinton claimed that it was unhinged. And this is the coverage on MSNBC.
The battle starts in
Chris, to be
5,
honest with you, I'm trying to
4,
hold my temper.
3,
I think
2,
there's an ongoing
you
argument
have to
that
stop
he's
them
having in
from
his
securing
head
the mission
with
area.
Black Lives Matter. There's an ongoing argument that he's having with the questions around criminal justice reform and police reform. It's interesting that he really doesn't really care about what's actually happening in D.C. on a certain level, because he's not trying to get at the underlying root causes. He's not looking at examples of how to address rising crime rates that doesn't require a form of policing that leads to increase in carcerality and the like. Let's look at what's going on in Baltimore. Let's look at what's happening actually in places like Baltimore and Chicago, right? So part of what we have to do is to understand. And Oakland. We have to understand this, Chris, within the context of Donald Trump's racial politics and within the context of his effort to get Epstein off the front pages.
Elizabeth, I want to get your thoughts on Trump's decision and also that analysis on MSNBC. That this is actually part of Trump's racial policy.
How nice. I found them.
I mean, look, the mental gymnastics that it takes, right, to convince yourself that President Trump wants to make a city that he's obviously personally impacted by, make a city safer and cleaner and better for the people that he works with every single day, for many that he personally knows have been impacted by that rise in crime. The fact that that could be turned into something bad and twisted in that way is how much people hate him more than they love our country. It's a sad reality when I also don't understand the innuendo that he's being racist. I think it's actually kind of the other way. They're being racist by assuming that he wants to fix violent crime, that means something against any other race. All it means is that crime is out of control, and if parents are scared to walk with their children in the street, something has to be done, and who is better to fix something than the President of the United States?
You're absolutely right. US Senator Bernie Sanders is on his fighting oligarchy tour across American states. He believes that people are frustrated with the times of the system. And let's look at some of his
Your powers are mine! I need jet planes.
Disappear!
No apologies for that. Sorry, the American people. We've got the money. We've got the power.
Behold! That child! Disappear!
Tremble before mass! Born again!
Alyssa Slotkin, Senator from Michigan, she said it should be used an oligarch. It's over people's heads. Again, criticized from other people to Sanders spent $221,000 on private jets on the oligarchy tour, paid for by funded by Sanders. That you've spent millions of dollars on campaign funds on private jet travel over the years. How do you push back on both of those things? What I tell you for Donald Trump doing the campaign mode at National Airport? No. It doesn't. But he's also not fighting the oligarch. When you run a campaign and you do 3 or 4 or 5 rallies in a week, the only way you can get around to talk to 30,000 people. Because when you're sitting on a waiting line, if you're not ship shape it. That's the only way you can get around. No apology for that. That's what campaign travel is about. We've done it in the past. We're going to do it in the future.
His tour is about fighting oligarchy, but of course, scoffs the idea of not flying private. But it's interesting, Bernie Sanders pulled out former Vice President Kamala Harris and slammed her failed election campaign, saying that she had too many billionaires telling her not to speak up and working class.
One of the reasons in my view, the cosmos heals you. Almost about out.
A nice deep freeze.
He then doubled down on this claim during an interview on CNN. And before I get to more of CNN's coverage on this, Elizabeth, can I get your reaction to Bernie Sanders fighting for oligarchy tour and, of course, the criticism of Kamala Harris?
Yeah, so two things. First of all, I think it's laughable to criticize Kamala Harris. Was a joke, but I believe Bernie Sanders also ran for president a few times and didn't end up doing too well. So I don't know if he has any right to criticize anyone else, especially in his failing party that wants to point the finger at everyone but themselves. Now, on the plane thing, I'm actually personally offended. I
seen a Gallup poll. Did you see this Gallup poll? What the Gallup poll found was that you are one of the most widely admired Americans, and I believe you're only second to the Pope.
You want me to declare my candidacy for Pope?
I don't think that you're eligible for a lot of reasons.
Then I won't do that.
I watched you tonight. I've watched you for a very, very long time. You're obviously still full of vigor and intensity for the things that you're passionate about and have been for decades. Is there another presidential run in you?
Oh, God. Let's not worry about that. I am going to be 84 years of age next month, as a matter of fact.
Oh, it's just embarrassing. Elizabeth, what did you make of this?
I mean, it's classic Democrat behavior, right? When has Donald Trump ever sat and been fawned over like this? Not to mention, I've seen a lot of polling showing Donald Trump being extremely
Pick your hero.
Nobody ever
Or
talks
villain.
about it
I'm not
like this.
judging.
In fact, they actually laugh at it and try to mock his supporters, which is the reason they continue to lose. But again, Bernie Sanders ran for president, and it didn't work. So he's obviously not that popular with the people of this country, and that's, I think, what should matter to him.
JD Vance has declared that a lot of people are about to get indicted over Russiagate. He believes that the recent disclosures from the Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, is evidence of a gross violation of the law. This, of course, comes after Tulsi Gabbard alleged that documents show the Obama administration promoted a contrived narrative that Russia interfered in the 2016 election. Here's JD Vance.
Mutants. You don't just indict people to indict people, you indict people because they broke the law. But if you look at what Tulsi and Kash Patel have revealed in the last couple of weeks, I don't know how anybody can look at that and say that there wasn't aggressive violations of the law.
The Vice President was pretty clear there. What can we expect?
Well, look, I'm hopeful that we see some kind of movement on this. I think too many times people get excited about something and then it doesn't happen because the government can't always deliver for the American people as we want it to. At the same time, I think JD Vance is right. He's the Vice President of the United States. He's seeing this evidence in front of him of what went on that should never have happened, that should never be allowed to happen in the United States of America. And he's saying we have to do something about it so that it never happens again. The fact is he's not wrong. A lot of people have questions about what happened in 2016, and it's actually not just people who voted for Donald Trump. It's not just us who think that Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton actually did conspire to hurt him, and also the American people were hurt as well. It's actually folks that voted against him that believe that have no idea why millions of United States tax dollars were spent, and it turned out obviously Donald Trump did not collude with Russia. It turned out they spent every single I guess you could say weapon, unfortunately, at their disposal to try to turn this country upside down, ruin 4 years of Donald Trump's term, and obviously use only the American tax dollar and the energy of the American people to do so. It's actually shameful whether you're talking about those who are Republican or Democrat, because what they did impacted every single person in this country in a negative way. So I'm hoping we see something come out of this investigation, because we deserve answers, and people deserve to know what was done by their own elected officials against this country.
Absolutely. Finally, JD Vance also appears to have extended an olive branch to Elon Musk. After revealing that he didn't think that the Tesla CEO would take his call, JD Vance said that he does want Elon to come back to the MAGA movement by the summer.
Right, even if you want to do it, and he does.
The moon haunts you.
That should be sealed. And so I think it's a mistake for him to try to run for the presidency. Yeah, I don't know if he would take my call right now. I'm sure he would. I kid. I'm sure he would take that call. But obviously, the drama around him.
1,000 gods!
For the last couple of months. Again, my hope is that just kind of cools down a little bit, because he did help us a lot in the election. The president even said all his frustration, Elon was a very, very critical part of the team last election. And so my hope is by things are kind of back.
Watch me.
Yeah, we'll see. Not bad.
I was gonna. Elizabeth, is this a good idea, or do you think there's potentially too much chaos around Elon?
No, I think when your country's at stake, all that chaos kind of goes out the window. The fact that Elon Musk was not a Republican, he was a strong Democrat for quite some time, and he only threw his support behind President Trump in the summer before the election, but a few months out after President Trump was unfortunately shot at. So it's something choice to make. We have Kamala Harris and Donald Trump, and this is my pick. And I think when the midterms roll around, it's going to be the exact same thing. The fact is he's not going to have a new party that's going to, make some kind of groundbreaking movement in these midterms. He's going to have a choice to make, and that's Democrat or Republican. And I believe regardless of what chaos Elon Musk, Donald Trump, J.D. Vance have between them, when you think about the country, you make the right choice. And I believe Elon Musk is going to go out and make the same choice that he made in 2024 in that presidential election, because it's not about personal relationships for him. He's too successful to think that way. It's about the future of this country.
Nice gal, Emma.
Elizabeth Pitco, thanks so much for your time. Great to talk to you.
Indeed.
Thank you.
It's time for Lefties Losing It. Rosie O'Donnell. We're going to talk about Rosie again. She continues to make a fool of herself in TV interviews. It appears since fleeing America due to an incurable case of TDS, her full-time job is doing these daft interviews where she says stuff like this.
I knew after reading Project 2025 that if Trump got in, it was time for me and my non-binary child to leave the country. And although I was not one of the celebrities who announced that that's what I would do, I made the decision within my family and my therapist, and should we win? And then when we did, we made the plan into action, and we were gone before he was inaugurated.
Yes, she fled with her non-binary child to a country that is more socially conservative than much of America, certainly more than the blue city she fled. Rosie is not that bright, it seems. Perhaps she missed the fact that Ireland's abortion laws are pretty strict, only freely available in the first trimester, or the fact that fewer than 1 in 5, 17% in fact, of Irish folk agree with laws allowing a person to change their birth certificate when they self-identify as the opposite sex. But Rosie doesn't care about those sorts of facts. She's obsessed with Project 25.
It's been heartbreaking, I have to tell you. I knew that if I was in the United States and watched him destroy the country and the Constitution and really pay no mind to any of the laws that the founders stood by and that our country stands for as a beacon of shining light and freedom for the rest of the world, that should he do what the Heritage Foundation said he was going to do in that Project 25, that we were going to be in big trouble. And it's as bad as they promised, and even a little bit worse, and it's been heartbreaking and personally very, very sad to watch.
I tell you, not everyone is happy with Rosie moving to Ireland. Let's hear from this local woman.
Rosie O'Donnell has just moved to Ireland. How do you feel about her coming to Ireland?
I'm pretty disgusted, to be honest. I'm fully aware of the housing situation here, and for someone to come to our country to hide from the President of the United States, they're very not welcome here. It's absolutely disgusting.
Now to the University of North Carolina, where Republican Nancy Mace has been heckled by some dude in a dress demanding an apology. Listen here how his voice changes about halfway through this exchange. That was a dramatic change, wasn't it? And why did he pick up that background? Was he going to water it or hurl it at someone? Now let's check in with our friends at CNN, who are now reporting on Joe Biden's cognitive decline. It's a little bit late now. Let's have a look at what they were claiming last year in the lead up to that debate with Donald Trump.
President Biden has spent days locked in intense preparation, surrounded by his closest advisors at Camp David. And our sources are telling us tonight that full mock debates are underway at the podium, under the lights. He's even watching tape to know exactly what he's going to see when he steps up to that lecture. His team shot a video during a walkthrough of the CNN studio. And as I reported while covering him at the White House, when Biden prepares, he does so incredibly intensively.
Oh, really, Kaiser? Incredibly intensively? Does that include full-side naps because he doesn't have no idea what's happening? Let's see what CNN is saying now that it doesn't really matter. And thanks to Mays Moore for this bit of story.
So just how worried were Biden aides before the former president's disastrous defeat last summer? According to Ron Klain, his chief of staff, his concerns could not be overstated. At his first meeting with Biden for debate prep, quote, Crain was startled. He'd never seen Biden so exhausted and so out of it. Biden was unaware of what was happening in his own campaign. Halfway through the session, the president excused himself and went off to sit by the pool. Part about the pool he went off, this is in the middle of debate prep, went off to the pool and he took a nap.
And let's hear from Pocahontas, Elizabeth Warren, who claimed that Biden was as sharp as a tack. Now she thinks her lies about the president are some big joke.
Do you regret saying that President Biden had a mental acuity? He had a sharpness to him. You said that up until July of last year.
I said what I believe to be true.
And you think he was as sharp as you?
I said I have not seen the con.
You are nothing! Can you believe that? That interview, Sam from the fantastic job there. These people really are beneath contempt. Listen to Pocahontas.
He was sharp. He was on his feet. I saw him live event. I had meetings with him a couple of times.
Senator, on his feet is not praise. He can speak in sentences, is not praise.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Now, after that dinner at the White House, Lefty Lingering Bernard is doing his best to redeem himself with the loony mob who are outraged that this ardent Trump hater would break bread with the president and then give an honest appraisal of what happened during that dinner. But as Ma said, he was not going to stop criticising the president or the VP, it seems.
We have a constitutional crisis. Today, Melania had a jacket that said, I'm starting to care. And not just Trump, J.D. Vance, our vice president, he's in Rome. You know, he's a convert, a recent convert to Catholicism. Married to a Hindu, goes right to the Catholics. I don't know what that's saying. He converted to Catholicism because he heard priests like little pricks. So...
I'm not sure that's going to be enough to stop the hit pieces and the mockery from the likes of Larry David, who lampooned Ma with this piece in the New York Times entitled My Dinner with Adolf. In it, David wrote, here I was, prepared to meet Hitler, the one I'd seen and heard, the public Hitler, but this private Hitler was a completely different animal. Joining me now is Newsweek Senior Editor-at-Large and Article 3 Project Senior Counsel Josh Hammer. Josh, how disappointing to see this unfunny mess from a comedy great like Larry David.
Well, I wish I could say it were surprising, Rita. It's not even remotely surprising. Larry David has one of the most notorious cases of Trump collusion since the chief assigning seizure in the United States. You know, it's worth noting that since October 7th and the horrific tragedy in Israel there, so Jerry Seinfeld and Larry David first created Seinfeld, the sitcom here back in 1990 there. Jerry Seinfeld, to his credit, has actually been very outspoken against the raging pro-Hamas mob. Larry David has never been... And this is a man who is actually much more than just as funny. You know, I heard once upon a time a story from Alan Dershowitz. But apparently Larry David saw Alan Dershowitz at a supermarket or a local convenience store in Martha's Vineyard, where I guess they both have a house. And Larry David just started yelling at the top of his lungs at Alan Dershowitz for having the temerity to represent Donald Trump in his impeachment proceedings back in 2020 there. I mean, Larry David, this is not a fun thing for me to say. I actually love Curb Your Enthusiasm. I think Larry David genuinely is a funny person when he wants to be a funny person, but as is too often the case, whether it's Larry David, whether it's Robert De Niro, whether it's any of these other celebrities who are very good when they stay in their lane and have a very nasty habit of getting outside their lane. Frankly, Rita, between me and you, I happen to be a huge proponent of the old Laura Ingraham line, which is said in a very different context about LeBron James of shut up and dribble. So in this particular case, to Larry David, I would say, shut up and just tell some funny jokes.
He's always become a caricature of his character on Curb Your Enthusiasm, and I've got to say, I loved Curb so much, but the last couple of seasons kind of jumped the shark a little bit. Still had a few good moments, but there's just a lot of weaker moments. Well, you know what? No one can be in peak condition throughout their comedy career, and I guess Larry David is an example of that. But that piece was just so pitiful, Josh. I mean, and so cliched to go to a Hitler analogy. Really? I mean, like, it's just so old and I don't know. I thought he was above that. Now, former White House press secretary Jen Psaki has earned the title of Captain Obvious by admitting that something everybody knew, that MSNBC is hopelessly biased to the left with its opinion programs or news reporting. She said in a recent podcast that when we talk about Trump, it's typically not going to be positive. I don't think anybody watching expects it to be positive, right? Well, no, we don't. But MSNBC viewers do think they're getting impartial news reporting. Opinion is opinion, but you would hope that when you're reporting something as a journalist, you would at least pretend to be unbiased and straight down the line.
So MSNBC's ratings here are actually positively horrific. It was really not that long ago, actually, that Elon Musk was making some waves by talking about potentially purchasing MSNBC, which I would be the first to very strongly encourage him to do. Elon, if you're still considering it, I think this would be a wonderful idea, actually. But their ratings have been quite pitiful for a number of years now. They're somewhat of a fraction of the ratings of CNN, which are themselves just a tiny, tiny fraction of Fox News, which totally dominates cable news here in the United States there. I mean, Jen Psaki saying the obvious part out loud. You know, here's what I will say, though, speaking of Fox News. You know, Fox News primetime lineup here, learning from Sean Hannity, most of that.
This is real firepower!
You're getting straight news here in the United States there. MSNBC, I'm not aware of a single hour of the day. I'm not aware of a single hour of the day when you're getting anything other than just straight DNC, Democratic National Committee talking points, straight up propaganda there. I mean, the fact that they have someone like Jen Psaki on the show says everything you know, actually. I think back to Mehdi Hasan, who was actually let go of MSNBC over the past year and a half or so. Man, does that say a lot about Mehdi Hasan, actually, that he was too far left too often in Cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs land and La La Land, that even MSNBC felt the need to let him go there. But Jen Psaki, as a former Biden spokesperson, is basically right at home there. And the viewer at this point, she's right, they expect that there, but they're being fed a delusion of lies on a day-in basis there. It's not good for them, it's not good for the country, it's not good for them.
No, and the Democrats on MSNBC and elsewhere have gone from defending this so-called Maryland dad, the MS-13 gangbanger who was in the country illegally, has now been deported to El Salvador. They've gone from defending him, Josh, to now lionizing him. A number of Democrats have traveled to El Salvador to try to meet with him, advocate on his behalf, and their supporters, the Democrat voters, are posting content like this.
Kilmar Abrego Garcia will be coming home. I'm so happy for you and your child and your family and your friends and your community. And I'm so happy for
4, 3,
our country.
2,
You are
all you need to do is capture the mission area.
the
Got
sprinkle
it?
of good news right now in this country. So you're a symbol, brother.
The sprinkle of good news, Josh, a symbol. It's so crazy that I almost think it must be a parody, but then I see Democrats, elected Democrats, saying as much as they travel to South America to try to bring this mystery back to the
Yeah, so with we're talking here, let's be clear, not just about illegal alien, not just someone who was found to have credible affiliations with MS-13, one of the most murderous transnational gangs in the entire Western Hemisphere. You know, he also, his wife was ex-girlfriend, I forgot the exact relation, also filed for a restraining order because he was a domestic abuser there. So, Mr. All-American there. I mean, seriously, like the way this person describes Kilmar Abrego Garcia, the way that MSNBC and Jen Psaki described him, Mr. Maryland man, you would think he's out there strapping his white t-shirt and his jeans with the white picket fence, the cat, the dog, the wife, the kids. He's Mr. All-American, right? It's nothing like that. He's not not an American citizen. He's a miscreant, he's a thug, he's a criminal, he's tied to MS-13, and he's back in where he belongs. But what does it say about the Democrats that they go to the masses? Someone like Hildar Abrego Garcia, they go to the masses for people like Mahmoud Khalil, the Hamas-sympathizing Syrian or Algerian national who was recently sent packing or possibly going packing because of his involvement with the Columbia University pro-Hamas riot last year. They love these people there. The left consistently takes these 80-20 or 90-10 issues on the wrong side of the ledger, Rita. Sometimes I just scratch my head. I look at clips like this. I look at this stunt like Tristan Collins, Dinwiddie Center from Maryland, flying down to El Salvador on the taxpayer dime, visiting his miscreant United Utilities, maximum security prison there. I mean, literally, who is the market? Like, literally, what is the constituent? And sometimes I just throw my hands up, Rita. Sometimes I just say, I have no idea what they're trying to do.
Who's the target market? I guess MSNBC's ever-diminishing number of viewers, because the deportation policy remains enormously popular, and it's probably going to get even more popular with this new probation. The policy has seen a 655% spike in arrests of terrorists in the US, including one of India's most wanted. New Homeland Security data obtained by the New York Post shows the Trump administration's mass deportation raids have nabbed more than 200 known or suspected terrorists since January, including the man accused of masterminding a grenade attack in India who has ties to a US-designated terrorist organisation in Pakistan. Josh, these cases do not get much media attention, like the Maryland dad, but the deportation plan remains popular with Americans, particularly Trump voters.
Oh yeah, it's overwhelmingly popular. I mean, Donald Trump's immigration agenda, I mean, do not let the New York Times or MSNBC delude you into thinking anything to the contrary. It is actually wildly popular. The national polling reflects this, by the way. I mean, let's take Donald Trump's maybe signature campaign promise, which is to deport all of the illegal aliens here. So when I first started following this data, call it 13, 14 years ago or so, around the time that I was getting ready to start law school here in the United States, that was a losing issue for Republicans. For Republicans who took the maximal hawkish position on immigration that we were going to deport all illegal aliens, you had roughly 30 to 35% towards 2012, 2013, around then. You look now at the data, well over 60%, depends on the poll, but typically well over 60% of Americans now say that they support deporting all illegal aliens from this country. That is a veritable sea change. That's a massive, massive sea change here on the issue of illegal immigration there. And the data basically speak for itself, Reed. Ever since this administration got started there, encounters between illegal aliens and Customs and Border Protection at the southern border are dramatically down there. Gotaways, which are basically illegal aliens who show up between ports of entry, manage to escape into the American interior. Those numbers are way down as well there. All of it has to do from the top guy on down. It has to do with Donald Trump. It has to do with Stephen Miller, the exceptional deputy White House chief of staff in charge of immigration policy. It has to do with Tom Homan, the border czar, who was just frankly just fantastic. He's just a magnificent, one of the unheralded, unsung heroes of this administration there. So from soup to nuts, the immigration agenda is actually working very, very well in terms of political popularity. Now the courts are doing their darndest. They're doing their darndest here to gum up the works. That's basically the best tool that the anti-Trump resistance has there. They're not going to let go of that anytime soon there. That's a whole nother can of worms. But other than the whole judicial issue there, it's working quite well, I would say, from an Article 2 presidential power perspective.
Now, the tariff wars are continuing there and continuing to impact the stock market. Donald Trump has indicated today that he is going to reduce the tariffs on China ultimately. Josh, it's interesting to see so many on the left side with China, side with the Chinese Communist Party that kills dissidents, enslaves the Uyghurs. It's a brutal regime that is a clear and present danger to the West. And you wrote about President Trump and his life's work culminating with this confrontation with China. Tell me why you argue America's trade war with China has to happen and why this rogue superpower, as you call them, must be closed.
Well, China has been ripping the crap out of the United States for decades on end, and Donald Trump, to his great credit, has been at the tip of the spear of pointing this out time and time and time again. Even as elites of both parties in the United States continue to issue all these platitudes about how welcoming China into the Western economies would somehow be better for all parties involved here. Back in the Bush administration in the early 2000s, Republicans and Democrats alike both welcomed China into the World Trade Organization. It has not worked out well. It has not worked out well at all. China routinely pilfers American intellectual property and trade secrets simply because it costs them doing business here. They basically steal their intellectual property. They frequently subsidize it in violation of World Trade Organization rules, and then export them for dumping in foreign markets well below market value there. This is a rogue country on the geopolitical chessboard as well. Look at how they're siding with Vladimir Putin and Ukraine, how they're routinely siding with Iran, North Korea, Venezuela, Cuba. I live in South Florida. China is very, very cozy with Cuba, just 90 miles off our shore. They are controlling large swaths of the Panama Canal. They have a deep water porting through. It's a threat. I mean, we have literally given our civilizational foe, our geopolitical, we've literally given them the road to defend ourselves. The mere fact now that we are so dependent on Chinese goods there makes it a very difficult situation to try to claw our way out of there. But Donald Trump is a very prescient, forward-thinking guy on this issue there. He's fundamentally trying to become the first president who, since Richard Nixon visited Mao Zedong in 1972, he's trying to become the first president to undo the contemporary, modern U.S.-China economic relationship there. I wish him nothing but the best. This trade war has to happen there. Frankly, it's a solid no. You have the right man at the right time for the right cause. So I just say, God bless.
It will be fascinating to see how this plays out. This is not a short-term strategy. This is something for the long-term health of the country, the long-term health of the West. And I think many people are already excited about it. Just looking at the fluctuation in the stock market daily and wanting decisions to be based on that. George Tanner, thank you so much for starting.
Born again!
This is who they've picked to play Jesus. Watch me! They cast a black woman, Cynthia Erivo, to play Jesus. They're so brave when it comes to mocking or reimagining Christianity.
1,000 gods!
Some other religions, they look at the performance of the Holy Spirit.
You'll have to keep fighting until we have a winner.
Adam Lambert, who played Judas. I don't understand it either. Talking about being confused, let's check in on Joe Biden. He appeared at the National Bar Association Gala in Chicago, and he appeared lost right from the start. Look at him. This is the man the Democrats and the media told you was cognitively
30 seconds
sound.
before you attack. Get
From
ready.
the former president now, the speech started badly and sadly only got worse from there.
But no real emotions or feelings.
Fascinating. Obsolete. Can't understand the workings of a superior mind.
My friend Ben Crump. And thank you for honoring me with this award. It's a big deal.
The battle starts in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All you need to do is capture the mission area. Got it?
Not a joke, folks.
The Guardians of the Galaxy
in
are
that shouting mode,
Make me
telling
feel
us
at home.
what we already knew. He picked Kamala Harris because of her gender and her race.
And I was proud to ask
Shake it
Kamala
up.
Harris to run with me.
I will now give
Woman to serve as vice president.
Some uninvited guests.
to survive. You must prepare me.
The mission area is yours to capture now. Capture the mission area!
Everyone consider keeping that.
Meeting with leaders, thinking about the
I'm a
future
good
of our
guy
country.
who occasionally takes stuff that doesn't belong to him.
And Kamala is out there promoting the hell out of this bull. Here she is with late night TV host Stephen Colbert.
This is a nice
and
spot.
Larry, wasn't this a scintillating interview?
I like these kinds of
I'll patch you up.
That was fun. The thing, because I've served on the Senate Intelligence Committee. I have been in classified briefings, and I'll tell you what, don't be on the train using your earpods because somebody can't listen to your conversation.
Team play. That's me. You're welcome. Crisis averted.
Yes, she likes the travel with the thing and just the mad cackling. I've got to say, I have missed that mad cackling. I've missed the...
Your team's capture progress has passed the halfway point. Control C.
Well. I mean, there's a lot of personal stuff in the book.
That's right. Everything is mine.
For example, my birthday's in October. The election's in November. You see where I'm going.
You're welcome.
Kamala, believe me when I say I have no idea what you're talking about.
Don't mess with the amazing Spider-Man!
Okay.
Watch me
soar! She doesn't know exactly where she's going to end up or how she'll get there. Let's get back to what she says was a highlight of her book, the personal stuff.
I'll patch you up.
I am healed.
You kind of dropped the ball.
I made fun of her, but she was a good friend. See? I'm fucking helpful.
All right, tell me the page.
You captured more than half of the mission area. Keep going.
Can't wait to read that. Promises to be a real page turner. Before Kamala can answer this next question about leading the deck.
Born again!
You belong to me!
Charge! Fire!
You know, like, oh, that's the leader on our party. Here he comes to mind.
It's clobbering time! This is real firepower!
Glory's almost yours!
You're ready for action!
I am ready to put on a show!
Leader. You cannot answer the simplest and most obvious of questions, and the Democrats are in such
They have to keep fighting until we have a winner.
Candidate perhaps ever. You, Kamala, are still the front runner to be the 2028 candidate. Yet the polls and even CNN is complete garbage.
One of the reasons why there is no front runner, nobody
This
wants to
is a
put
nice
anybody on the
control
top of their
loss.
ballot list, is because at this particular point, the Democratic brand is in the basement. It is total and complete garbage in the mind of the
You're
American
ready
public.
for action!
Crisis averted. All sorts of trouble. Their brand is in the toilet as
Somebody
things
scratch my back.
are about to get worse with a new congressional map in Texas being voted on. And that has Democrat Congresswoman Jasmine
You're
Tucker
welcome.
losing it. She may even lose her seat. She certainly
Don't mess with the amazing Spider-Man!
She speaks about President
I'm opening a portal.
In a functioning democracy,
It's
be able to get away with this.
A shortcut through space.
her foul-mouthed ghetto-like
Artifacts of
tirade
vast
against the
power.
US president.
They've
Just on the attack. This time,
We'll have to keep fighting until we have a winner.
and all sorts of wild ones.
Born again! Charge! Fire! Extermination!
Does he just accuse them of taking bribes? And here she is threatening to beat down Republicans.
They expect Democrats to kind of be the nice guys that we are. They expect us to take the punch and say thank you. Well, I am here to tell you
Another epic victory! Big win!
seals and talking about deranged. Here is Democrat Senator Minority Leader Chuck Schumer lying, just lying.
You know, it keeps getting worse. Today, Donald Trump and the White House announced they're going to spend $200 million to build a large, fancy White House ballroom. This